Oh, master.
Okay, Randy Orton.
Real quick. Just real quick.
Love it.
All right, here you go.
Hey,
Yay.
sweet.
Sports Talk Live.
Let's go. We're joining you live here on our WBAY streams on YouTube, as well as Facebook and WBAY.com. If you've got any questions about the Packers, feel free to send that to us on our Facebook stream. But Eric, what do you want to start with this week? Should we talk Eagles-Packers yet? Should we talk Asante Samuel Jr.? Should we talk Mike Holmgren? What do you want to go with?
Let's start with Packers-Eagles, I think, at this point.
Okay. We'll get to the others in just a minute. Yeah. Packers-Eagles, Monday Night Football airs right here on WBAY TV next week. Our pregame coverage starts at 4 o'clock. During Action 2 News at 4, we'll take you all the way up till kickoff at 7. We will have postgame coverage as well live on WBAY. Again, the game actually airs here on ABC TV, WBAY TV, so you can keep it parked here for the duration. This is a playoff rematch. It's against the defending Super Bowl champions, and it means a whole heck of a lot as the team tries to get right after last week.
There's some interesting things when you look at the playoff rematches since really the beginning of the Brett Favre era. The Packers are 4-9 in playoff rematches, the teams that they lost to in the postseason the year before. Maybe they've been better at that as of late. The Cowboys in the early 90s really kind of skewed those numbers a little bit, and getting swept by the Vikings back then also kind of skewed things in the early 2000s. But then you look at, this is actually the third time in the last 4 years they have hosted the reigning Super Bowl champion. That was the Rams and then the Chiefs. And they won
Baker
both of those.
Mayfield's Rams. They beat the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football.
They were still the defending Super Bowl champions, even though they didn't have, the quarterback, Matthew Stafford. But so maybe that's a good thing. And you also look at that. I thought this was interesting. In their best outputs as an offense this year have been in primetime. They're averaging 34 points a game in primetime, so under the lights. And then since 2019, since Matt LaFleur took over as head coach, I've got to get the number right, 29 points a game in primetime. So Matt really likes to be under the lights, so maybe that works to their advantage against an Eagles defense.
You know what really struck me this week? I saw some stats coming out of the loss. There was dinking, there was dunking. There wasn't much offense in terms of point total last week in the loss to the Panthers. But someone calculated the air yards per attempt based on the point spread. And when the Packers are heavy favorites, even in Aaron Rodgers' era under Matt LaFleur and now with Jordan Love, the air yards per attempt way down. When it's a juggernaut matchup, these primetime ones are so often that, they chuck it as far as they can down the field. Remember Thursday Night Football this year, Jordan Love was averaging the highest air yards per attempt of any quarterback in the league so far this year. Yes, it was just week 2, but it was off the charts. The real thing that interests me, I think, around town here, everyone is so wrapped up in the Tucker Kraft injury and woe is me, what can they do to fix it? Obviously, no one will replace Tucker Kraft, but they're still the favorites against the defending champion Eagles, according to Vegas.
I mean, the Eagles have had their own issues this year. They don't really look like the world beater. Saquon Barkley does not look like the same guy. The Packers really did kind of limit him, except for maybe a long garbage run right at the end of the game. They did really they were the only ones that seemed to kind of limit the Eagles' offense last year in the playoffs. And the Eagles' offense just hasn't really been the same. And A.J. Brown is kind of a problem. They didn't trade, so we will see him this week, assuming he plays. So, I mean, they're not the same team that they were, but they are still a very good team that you have to account for. I mean,
let's get to some of the comments on Facebook or questions. No question here, but a comment from David. You better do better than coaching, otherwise we're going to lose this game too. I think Matt LaFleur would be the first to admit that 4th and 8 decision was a little suspect. He says he always wants to go down swinging, but at the same time Monday, in reflecting on that decision, he kind of admitted that he predetermined going for it on 4th down before the 3rd and 3 play was run. Of course, I think he's assuming if we don't get the first down, we're going to be a lot closer. Instead, they moved 5 yards backwards. If they take a field goal there, the touchdown at the end is to go ahead. 2020 is hindsight for sure, but I think no matter how you view it,
they'd like to have candy and nuts. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. If he picks it up and scores a touchdown, we're not having the same conversation. So I mean, it's just that is the realist way of looking at that. So it didn't work out. Matt probably wants it back. I think there's a lot of calls he usually wants back. Usually the ones that don't work out.
I think this year the thing that's maddening for Packer fans is the first 2 weeks against the two teams that were the number 1 seed in the NFC last year and the team that beat them. They were so good, yet they played down and lost to the the Browns and the Panthers this year. Wes Hodkiewicz of Packers.com actually had a really interesting stat that the defense has given up 13.5 points per game in their 2 losses this year, which is a really low number, and they've done really well in the losses. The defense isn't number 1 in the league. They are good enough to really do a lot of great things, but Mike Parsons, 0 pressures in that game as well. And when you're looking at the Eagles, let's talk about Saquon Barkley. Hasn't had the great year, but he did have his best game of the season last week. He had 7 60-plus yard touchdowns last year. He had his first against the Giants before their bye week. The Eagles are coming off a bye as well. He had been held. Let's get the stats. Let's get it right. Yeah, he had been held under 60 rushing yards in 5 straight games before that Giants contest where they broke out. So the Eagles are a dangerous team, everyone knows, but the stats. Let's talk about total offense. The Packers are 8th. The Eagles are 24th. Total defense, the Packers 5th, and the Eagles 23rd. Those aren't numbers you expect from a defending champion. What the Eagles have been pretty good at so far is turnover margin. They're +4. And as we saw in the wild card round, what happened with the turnover margin?
No, the Packers lost it horribly, and they paid for it. I mean, Zach Bond has that pick right in the middle of the field. The bald eagle will be ready to go this week. So it's a Vic Fangio defense. They prioritize taking away the ball. And, one guy that we have not talked about on that defense that is very familiar with the Packers. It'll be interesting to see if he is available. Is Jair Alexander.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Ja, weasels his way to the coin toss after 1 week with the Eagles. But
Mitchell's a decent corner for them.
Very.
I think there's talk of them moving Cooper DeJean perhaps to boundary corner. We'll see how it all plays out because they traded for 2 corners at the deadline, not just Jair Alexander. It would not surprise me at all if Jair is inactive. He was a healthy scratch for the Ravens a lot this year, and everyone thought he'd mesh so well with his college quarterback Lamar Jackson. That experience did not work out. They traded a day 3 pick to get him. Actually, it was a day 3 swap. They basically swapped 6th and 7th round picks to get Jair. They didn't give up a lot. They were not overly invested in the man. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, Quinton Mitchell is one of the best cover corners in the league. That maybe might be one of the best you haven't heard of. We're talking about in terms of close coverage and being within a yard and limiting the window for people to throw against. There's right now Sauce Gardner is one of the best, and then Pat Surtain, and then Quinton Mitchell is number 3 in that stat. So
Eric, why didn't the Packers trade for Sauce Gardner?
Well, the price tag?
They didn't have those first-round picks the Colts gave up.
The price tag for Sauce Gardner was the price tag for Micah Parsons. It's
pretty much,
the same deal. So
2 picks and a
maybe
player.
Goody is revolutionizing the world by the fact that it's 2 picks and a player. It's the exact same trade, and that's what it takes to get a guy of that caliber. And Micah Parsons is that guy. And Micah Parsons is someone who has had success against the Eagles. He has 5 sacks in his career against Philadelphia. He gets to go up against his rival Lane Johnson this week. So definitely some familiarity, and I'm sure the Eagles are looking forward to seeing it.
And Micah obviously played the Eagles twice a year as a Cowboy in the NFC East. He has 4.5 sacks in his last 4 games against the Eagles, so even better of late. We've got another question. With the loss of the star tight end, who needs to step up for the Packers offense this week? You go first.
Luke Musgrave. I mean, it's just now.
They're not apples to apples tight ends.
No, they are. That was what I was going to say. Is anybody that thinks that he's going to go out and do the same things? He's just not. We look at when it comes to Tucker's, being physical and run blocking, it's going to be Fitzpatrick that does that. When it's a threat down the field, it's going to be Musgrave. It's going to be done in the aggregate. It's not going to be, here's one guy. It is going to be, Luke Musgrave was picked ahead of Tucker, and he is the guy that before he had the lacerated kidney and then all the injury issues that he's had.
The ankle.
He had all the expectations before there were expectations on Tucker. So now it's his chance to kind of prove those things right.
I think you said the aggregate. That's funny. Our friend Jason Wilde from Cover 2's On the Clock posted the clip from Moneyball that you're not going to replace Giambi. You're going to have to do it in the aggregate.
He gets on base.
The thing that I think scares a lot of Packer fans and is a cause of concern for me in trying to replace Kraft, you can't do it with just one player, but you're going to get a guy like Musgrave, okay, maybe he can replace the tight end production in catches and yards, perhaps, but he can't block as well. So you're going to be more predictable. When Musgrave's on the field, you're not going to expect the same run-pass discrepancy that you had with Tucker Kraft, because Tucker could do everything. He was such a feisty run defender. He's so great with yak attack. We know Dontavian Wicks can do that when he's healthy. It's going to be a lot of players and not just tight ends that are going to have to fill the hole left by Tucker
One thing
Kraft.
that they did interesting, I noticed a few weeks ago, is they put Fitzpatrick in the backfield, using more of an H-back. It's a little something we saw with Josiah DeGuara back in the day. So maybe we see a little more of that, where you're not necessarily using that run-blocking tight end in the same way. Maybe do some different things, put him in different spots where it's obvious that it's going to be a run play and it's the lead blocker, but how do you change things where that guy is now a different type of threat? How do you readjust? And that might be one way of doing it.
I think the Packers go into this game needing to perform well. And the funny thing, you mentioned they perform well in prime time, and later in the seasons, Jordan Love seems to cut down on turnovers. He has just 3 interceptions this year, but they are of the variety that are such head scratchers that it feels like he has more. Vegas obviously favors the Packers in this one. This month is going to be so instructive as to the NFC picture. With a win, they could be back on top of the NFC. I think they'd still be second or third after the weekend slate of games with a win. If they lose, they could right now be outside the playoff picture. That's how jumbled of a mess the NFC is right now. The NFC North is a jumbled mess as well. Every team at least at or over 500, with the Bears doing what they're doing this year, and the Vikings getting a big win at Detroit last week. It's going to be a must-win. It may be hard. It may be an uphill climb. You got to find a way. And the run defense, I think, has to be so much better. They were the best run defense in the NFL heading into the last week. They're still, where do they rank right now? They still rank, I believe, 5th. But they gave up so much to Rico Dowdle, and Colby Wooden is an injury to watch.
Yeah, I was looking at this today, and I thought this was really interesting. You look at ESPN's run win rate in terms of a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Carl Brooks is actually on the top 10. So Carl Brooks maybe not making a lot of splash plays this year, but his win rate against run blocking is actually really good. So maybe Carl Brooks is kind of a guy that fills that void if Colby Wooden's not able to go. Obviously, you have Devontae Wyatt. So they have pieces in front that will help. But Colby Wooden has really been their best against the run, and they could definitely use him against Saquon.
If they can stop Saquon Barkley, if they can limit Jalen Hurts' running abilities and make him a drop-back passer with Micah Parsons pursuing, that's a recipe for success. It was a Packers' strength run defense heading into the last week. If it can be, they could easily win at home. They can do anything, right? This team, the sky is the limit for them. With Tucker Kraft out, it's a little harder to be more consistent doing that, but the sky is the limit for this team. It's a lot harder path. That Thanksgiving Day date against the Lions looms large as well. We're going to, as I said on the clock last week, you're going to know so much more about this team after Thanksgiving and how the NFC playoff picture sorts itself out. The tush push has been a hot button topic. The Packers were the team to propose to ban it. Do you expect to see Nick Sirianni running it ad nauseum on Monday night?
Absolutely. Anytime he gets a chance to, especially against the Packers, he's going to. You're probably going to see it. I'm going to put the over-under on that as 3. I'm going to say you see 3 of them. I'm taking the over.
We saw it 4 straight times when they were in prime time on Thursday Night Football against the Giants. I think we see at least 4 tush pushes. And I think it's going to be banned this next offseason. I don't care that it's unfair to try to, this team's good at it, take it away. It's not being officiated properly. Earlier this year against the Chiefs and other teams, they're not calling the false starts on the Eagles guards. And I think that the straw that will end up breaking that camel's back was what happened in the Eagles' last game before the bye week when Jalen Hurts extended his arms, fumbled the ball, had it ripped away by Kayvon Thibodeau, I believe, and they blew it dead for forward progress when that was not at all the right call. The Zebras don't know how to officiate it. It is not aesthetically pleasing. It's boring, stupid football, if you ask me. And that was a turning point in the game. That was before Scatterbo got injured. It was a tie game. If the Giants get a takeaway there, it could be totally different. You can't have games, big divisional games, big interdivisional games, playoff games coming down to a play that's not officiated well and as ugly as can be aesthetically. This is going to be the last hurrah for the tush push this year, but you're going to see it a ton on Monday night, I think. We're going to go ahead and get ready. We're going to see if we have any more questions. One more question, then we're going to get ready for our 6 o'clock newscast. How do you ban the tush push? No more QB sneaks? Well, I just think you make the rule the way it used to be. You cannot aid any runner, whether it's quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end. That's the way the rule used to be. Now they have the rule where you can't pull anyone. Go back to where you can't push a runner. I grew up in South Bend, Indiana. The Bush push, Reggie Bush, Notre Dame, USC. Still hurts my heart.
You said it. I was
I
going to
don't like
mention
it.
that, but I chose not to.
Well, you're so kind.
The Bush tush.
This man also went to NIU and keeps an NIU helmet about 3 feet away from me in our sports office, and he's got a Texas A&M cup.
I'll take it down when you can beat NIU.
The Fighting
The
Irish.
Irish do.
I always tell him he's a big Badger guy as well from the Madison area. If the Badgers beat the Irish at Lambeau Field next September, I'll say, Eric, you got any more teams in the woodwork?
No.
Anyways, we're going to go get our 6 o'clock newscast ready. We'll be doing this every Wednesday at 5:30 moving forward, taking your Packers questions, streaming live on WBAY.com, YouTube, and Facebook. Thanks for joining us. There we go.
We did it.
I think so. Do
Yeah.
I have to hit stop somewhere else? This one
I got
is.
my run. I got my
Yeah.